We're at a very dangerous moment, Tucker, and I'm not exaggerating. I think this is probably the most important appearance I've had with you in the last 2 years. It is completely clear now that the vaccines don't really work at all against Omicron. In these highly vaccinated and highly boosted countries, rates of infection are incredibly high, and rates of serious disease and death are also rising. The Israelis are predicting that they're going to have more serious cases than they ever had at the peak last year. And the idea that we would solve this with another booster is just off the charts insane. I have not said this to you before because I'm pretty careful, and I'm pretty careful with the data, but these vaccines, these mRNA vaccines, the mRNA COVID vaccines need to be withdrawn from the market now. No one should get them. No one should get boosted. No one should get double boosted. They are a dangerous and ineffective product at this point against Omicron. The spike that they make your body make that you then produce antibodies to is not the Omicron spike. And earlier today, Tony Fauci said, we're not going to give people monoclonal antibody products, because the first generation products, because they don't work against the Omicron spike. The same logic applies to these mRNA vaccines, and giving people boosters, even if in the very short term it knocks down infection rates, there's a boomerang effect, and that's what they're seeing in all these countries. We are at a dangerous moment, and these products need to be withdrawn.
When you say they're ineffective, and that's demonstrable to anybody who lives in this country, everyone you know who's had it, has had COVID, and most of them are fine. But when you say they're dangerous, what do you mean by that?
Well, there was a JAMA paper today, actually, that showed that rates of myocarditis, which is, again, a heart inflammation that can be very dangerous and can affect people of any age. But myocarditis in young men, actually in college-age people, especially men, it is 50 to 100 times as high as the background rate after the second shot. There's another issue here, which is that when I say that there's danger, and the danger is dose-related, okay? That's a general rule in medicine. The dose makes the poison. And giving people more mRNA that's going to make them produce spike protein that doesn't, match the current spike protein of SARS-CoV-2 is useless and is likely to wrong-foot their immune systems, okay? So there's a problem with the efficacy and the immune response, and there's also just a problem with the dangers of the vaccines themselves. And if these products were being brought to market now against Omicron, they would not be approvable. Okay, so Pfizer is trying to fix that by saying we're going to have an Omicron variant mRNA product in the next couple of months. Guess what? It's very likely there'll be a new variant by then. Okay, so they're going to be chasing this, and they're going to be injecting people with something that doesn't match the current variant forever, and the results are likely to get worse and worse and worse. Go to the Substack, just look at the charts. Just look at the chart of what's happened in Israel in the last couple of weeks. This is a country that's 90% plus adult vaccinated, more than half adult boosted. These are the levels that the Democrats would love to achieve in the United States. It's not just that it doesn't make any difference. It seems to be making the situation worse. And it is impossible for me to imagine that a fourth shot, that a second booster is going to do anything but in a couple of months lead to another boomerang, another synchronized wave that overwhelms hospitals, because they're reporting that, again, in Israel, that their ICUs are under immense pressure. So I don't know what the logic is right now, but I know that in any rational world, every public health authority would be calling for an immediate halt to vaccinations, mRNA vaccinations for COVID, until we know what's going on.
This is just a completely scary thing to hear. And again, you can look up the data. It's on Berenson's Substack. It's also publicly available.
And let me just say one last thing. We're lucky right now because Omicron is not as dangerous as Delta, it appears, overall. Okay, it's not as dangerous. If another variant comes and we are wrong-footed like this and it is more virulent, I don't know what's going to happen, but we should be trying to avoid that, not trying to buy a couple months so Tony Fauci can feel better, and then this happens again.
Reduce the stock price at Pfizer. Alex Berenson, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tucker.